next educational video. In the last video, I discussed about the kingdom Protista and the classification regarding with the kingdom Protista. And I also discussed about the class 1 under the division 1 of kingdom Protista. In this video, I am going to discuss about the class 2 and the class 3 under the division 1 of the kingdom Protista. So the class 2 under the division 1 of the kingdom Protista is the class Euglenophyta. The class Euglenophyta is called Euglenophyta because it consists of all the euglenoids. So that's why the name is Euglenophyta. The Euglenophyta shows both the plant features as well as animal features. They shows the characteristic features of plants. They shows the characteristic features of animals. That's why they call the connecting link between the plant and the animals. Till now, 1,000 species have been identified under the Euglenophyta. This is a picture shows some of the example for the Euglenophyta, that is a Euglena, Astracia and Paranema. You can see in this picture, so this is the anterior position of the organism. So this is the anterior position at which there will be a presence of the reservoir. This is the reservoir. This is the reservoir. At the base of the reservoir, there will be a locomotory organ. That locomotory organ is called the flagellum. So this is the flagellum. This is the flagellum, which helpful for the locomotion of the organism, helpful for the movement of the organism. Also, the Euglenophyta don't have a cell membrane. Instead, they consist of a flexible membrane around them that is called a pellicle, which is a flexible membrane. Instead of a cell membrane, the flexible membrane, that is a pellicle, is present. They have a free paramylum granules, which is helpful for the storage of polysaccharides, and they have a chloroplast, which consists of a chlorophyll pigment, so which is responsible for the process of photosynthesis. This is one of the characteristic features of the plant. And they also consist of a food vacuoles and contractile vacuoles, such as in case of animals. The Euglenophyta shows a characteristic features of both plant and animals. That's why they're called a connective link between the plants and the animals. As I said, there are tiny flagellates. One flagella is long, another one is very short, as I shown in the picture. They do not have the cell wall or the cell membrane. Instead of that, they have their own flexible membrane. That own flexible membrane is called the pellicle. So this is one of the specialized cell membrane for the Euglenophyta. So that is called the pellicle. So out of 1,000, 1/3 of species have been identified with the chloroplast, so which is the organ responsible for the process of photosynthesis. So most of all the Euglenophytes are autotrophs. So they have a pigments such as a chlorophyll B, chlorophyll A, such as in case of green algae and higher plants. Not all the Euglenophytes are photosynthetic or they are autotrophs, but some are heterotrophs. They depend on other organisms for food and development. All the Euglenophytes are able to store a polysaccharide in paramylum granules. As I said, all the forms or all the Euglenophytes possess a flask-shaped opening in the anterior end of the organism. That flask-shaped opening is called a reservoir. At the base of the reservoir, there will be a presence of the locomotory organ, that is the flagella, which is helpful for the locomotion of the organism. The euglenoids have the contractile vacuole. As I said already, they have a contractile vacuole, such as in case of protozoans and animals. That contractile vacuoles helps to collect an excess water produced from all parts of the organism. So if there is any excess water present inside the body of the organism, that will be balanced with the help of the contractile vacuoles, so which is also helps to regulate the osmotic pressure within the organism, so it can balance the water percentage inside and outside the organism if the organism lives in a marine water. Or let's talk about the reproduction. The Euglenophytes mostly reproduce by the binary fission, which is one of the asexual method. Because of the absence of the cell wall and the presence of the flagella, the hair-like structure, which is a locomotory organ, and the contractile vacuole, flexible pellicles, they suggested as animals. And because of the presence of the chloroplast, such as in case of plants, they suggested as plants. So that's why they're called the connective link between the plants and the animals. The third class under the division 1 of the kingdom Protista, so that is the class Phyrophyta, which is also called a dinoflagellates because it includes the dinoflagellates, and it is commonly called a fire algae. These are unicellular, only one cell is present. These are also called as a golden brown photosynthetic organism because the brown pigment is present, that is a fucoxanthin. I will tell you further. And till now, 1,000 species have been identified under the Phyrophyta. Mostly they live in marine water, so they are mostly marine. Some of the Phyrophyta such as Gonilax, Noctiluca and Gymnodium grow in large number over the surface of the sea water and makes the sea appear red. So that condition is called a red tide condition. So the majority of the Phyrophyta are able to move from one position to another position. They shows the motility because of the presence of the locomotory organ, that is the flagella. So they're flagellated and they're motile. So I already told the sea appears red color because of the organisms, that is a Gonilox, a Noctiluca and a Gymnodium. So they makes the sea surface appears red. That is one of the characteristic features of them, and it is because of the pigment present in them. I'll tell you which pigments further. The cell wall is composed of a number of plates. The number of plates are made up of a cellulose and which is hardened with the silica. So that layer is called a theca layer. I told they're called a golden brown photosynthetic organisms because they have a pigment, that is a fucoxanthin, along with the pigment chlorophyll A and E. So that's why the sea appears red on the surface. So many of them autotrophs, many of able to carry out the process of photosynthesis. Some are saprophytes, they dependent on the decaying or dead matter for the nutrition. Some are parasites, they dependent on the host for the growth and development, but they causes the diseases to the host. Some are symbiotic, they live in a symbiotic relationship. So some are holozoic, they can able to swallow an entire or able to engulf the entire organism as a food, that is called a holozoic. The cell possesses relatively large nucleus. The cells of the Phyrophyta have a large or big nucleus that is called a mesokaryon. That nucleus is called mesokaryon. The Phyrophyta have a osmoregulatory organelles such as the pusils, so which looks like contractile vacuoles. So the contractile vacuoles and the pusils, which are the osmoregulatory organelles, looks same in appearance. The cell possesses membrane bound organelles such as mitochondria, Golgi bodies and ribosomes. Approximately 20 species produces a powerful toxin, so which causes a respiratory failure, death of the fish which are living in a marine or a fresh water. So the toxin substance, for example, Saxitoxin. The Saxitoxin is produced by one of the Phyrophyta, that is a Gonilox catanella. So that accumulates in a shellfish, but the toxin is not harmful to the shellfish. But if the human consumes the shellfish, which causes a paralytic shellfish poisoning and death of the humans, so which is harmful to the humans, not for the shellfish. Some are called a fluorescent because they makes the sea surface glow in dark or night. It is because of the pigment present in them, that is fucoxanthin, and their cell wall is made up of a number of plates, that is which is further hardened with the silica. So that's why they're called the phosphorescent, because they makes the sea surface glow in dark and during night time. So they reproduce or they multiply by the asexual method, that is by the cell division or by the formation of the zoospores and by cyst. I already told about the cyst and zoospores in the previous videos. So some shows a sexual reproduction by the isogamous and anisogamous, that is through the conjugation. There will be a fission of two haploid cells or the two haploid gametes, resulting in the formation of the diploid cell, that is called the zygote. That happens through the conjugation, that is two different strains have been fused together to form a different strain. This is all about the sexual reproduction regarding the Phyrophyta. So this is the picture shows some of the example for the Phyrophyta, that is the Noctiluca and Gonilox. You can see here, this is the small flagella, this is the large flagella, which is helpful for the locomotion of the dinoflagellates. This is all about the class 2 and class 3 under the division 1 of the kingdom Protista, and I am going to discuss about the division 2 and division 3 in the next videos. I hope you understood and thank you for watching. Hi friends, subscribe to my YouTube channel and also press a bell icon to never miss an educational video.